Hello everybody, my name is Icon and this is my second video chain for Let's Play Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. And yeah, the story of the Minotaur monk is over. It's time to start a new story. And for tonight we're gonna play some Gargoyle. And I want to play some Gargoyle because it's one of the easier races, as you can see here in the screen. And also I wanted to make some info material about how to play the early game of a Gargoyle, how to win a game with this race, and show you guys why Gargoyles are such excellent characters to clear up the game, to do even 15 rune runs and stuff like that. Hopefully we'll grab the Orb of Zod this time. Well, we're gonna start out as Monk again, because I feel like Gladiator and Fighter are too easy to achieve here, and I want to go for the same random god challenge again like the last time. So we're gonna put up the learning menu first. We're gonna drop down stealth, we're gonna put on armor because we plan on wearing armor, and yeah, off we go. So first we're gonna start with some basic intrinsics of the Gargoyle. So as you can see, we have negative energy resistance at 1 pip from start off. We have electricity resistance from start because we're a statue. We're unbreathing, which means we can't be suffocated by water elementals and such. We're petrification resistant because, well, we're already a statue. And rot immunity comes, well, with the same reasoning. We're a statue. Statue can rot, obviously. And we have an innate AC bonus of +2. This will grow over time. So if we look it up here, we even are resistant to torment. That's something that's not shown in the last screen, but this is actually one of the main reasons why you can 15 rune runs so easily with these guys, because torment is a really nasty source of damage, and there are almost no mechanisms to protect you from that, apart from being a gargoyle. But stuff like that always comes at a cost. First of all, our aptitudes are not as good as with the Minotaur. We have a lot of minus aptitudes, which means we learn significantly slower. But our armor aptitude is sitting at a +1. Our fighting aptitude is pretty well too. Invocations ain't too bad, so we can surely do this run with that. But the major drawback of a Gargoyle is its low health pool here. And while we develop an insane bonus to armor class, we still keep being fragile, and that's some interesting setup. So we're gonna explore some. We burst down our first rat and our first bat, and we're gonna proceed clearing Dungeon 1, hopefully with not too much problems. So we ran into a teleport trap. It's not too much of a big deal here. Dungeon 1 is pretty harmless. So there goes a glowing hat. I'm gonna put this on even if it's cursed. It's not too terrible, but it's a +1 hat. We're lucky. And yeah, we keep exploring Dungeon 1. There's pretty much nothing that can really get dangerous to you as a gargoyle on level 1 if you're not running into something that's definitely not belonging here, like halberd null. If you remember the last video, I'm scared of halberd wielding nulls on level 1. I'm really scared of them. They happen, and they hurt a lot. So we're taking it carefully. I'm not out exploring here. I tend to do not so if I'm going for a run I want to win. So here we have a first unidentified amulet. We're not gonna put it on. Could be something bad, and we don't have remove curse here identified yet, so just gonna proceed, grab some basic resources, smack some enemies. That's the life of a gargoyle on D1. You don't need to be terrified that much. So our AC is still at +2, but I think it'll go to +3 as soon as we hit XL3. And yeah, that's one of the real strong sides of a gargoyle, the innate growing AC bonus they get. It really compensates a lot for the low hit point pool. And again, we're gonna worship the first god we run into. That's basically my challenge here. That's why I went for a monk. And also I did this to spice up this run a bit, because I really feel like a fighter or gladiator background wouldn't be too interesting to watch, because it's basically very straightforward clearing out the game. With a goofy god decision, maybe this gets a bit more interesting, and we have to improvise a bit more. But maybe we will get something like the last game where I did the same and pulled off a shining one random god choice. That was pretty sweet. Wasn't enough to finish the game though. Threw it all away, down at slot 5, only a few dozen steps away from the orb. Felt kinda bad, but that's part of the game. Dying is part of the game here, definitely. You just learn to get better, not dying. So we are down at D2, went to XL3, and I'm gonna put it into strength for now, and we're gonna stand on the staircase and read some scrolls. And it's teleportation, and that's the reason why I went to this staircase, because I can safely escape upstairs, get teleported on the floor, which I already know, and we don't want to get random teleported onto a floor we don't know. That could go terribly wrong. We have one ID left. We've identified Ambrosia and Brilliance, which are not too good potions to begin with. I'd rather like something like Heal Wounds or Curing or Might, Berserk Rage, something like that, but you can't decide every time. And I'm going to ID this amulet. Could have been something really good, but it was a cursed amulet of inaccuracy. It's something we definitely don't want to see, and there goes our first adder. Well, adders are particularly dangerous if you're not poison immune, but the Gargoyle is poison immune, so we're not too scared of these, and enjoy the big amount of XP they provide in the early game. That's pretty much 29% of my next level up on one adder. That's a lot. But don't take adders lightly. We can only take them lightly because we're a gargoyle and can't be poisoned. That's the only reason why I'm taking these so lightly here. And there goes the third one. It's a lot of adders so far. But luckily we're a gargoyle. There's Sigmund around the corner. I'll definitely bail out. Don't want to fight Sigmund at XL3. Really not. Rather see if we can take this worm around the corner. We do. And let's smack him. You can safely kite down worms if you want to, because they're significantly slower than a player, but I didn't feel like it. I would have started kiting if I got one more terrible hit in there. My HP went really low in this fight, but I felt pretty safe there. Maybe a bit rash, but we're still alive, aren't we? So I'm a bit spooked of Sigmund hanging around over there. And it looks like we have made our god choice. It's Hep. Okay, so this is how Hep works. You get a ancestor, and he can evolve during your worship of Hep. And since we started out as a monk, we can pick the background from the start. And we can pick between a knight, that's a strong melee competent, which is pretty tanky and very useful overall. We could go for a battle mage, well, that's melee and conjurations, or we could go for a hexer, which is, yeah, good at knife work and debilitating spellcasting. So, I really think about what I need here, but I guess it's gonna be the hexer here. Because I can really use somebody that stands behind me and randomly hexes my enemies. Right now it's slow and confuse, but both of those are really useful. Maybe I can even take down Sigmund with my ancestor now. But I'm not too hasty to find out if I can take down Sigmund. So here goes the Hexer, confuses the adder, slows the rat. Was it a rat? Didn't pay notice too much. So there we go, and there we go too. Our Hexer is wielding a dagger of draining, which can get very useful at times. And overall, I feel like we went again pretty lucky with our god choice here, because with the Hexer we are really versatile in terms of fighting, but Hep doesn't come without a cost. You lose 10% of your maximum HP, and considering that we already are playing a race which has a low base HP, this decision, well, it is dangerous at some point. But also it's really good because we have high AC. I think we can manage. So let's try if our Hexer can bring in a spell against Sigmund. Obviously not. We're taking a smack for a 10, but I have a potion of heal wounds in my pocket, so I'm not too anxious here. And there goes Sigmund and 2 level ups for us. That's really much. But it was 2v1, so with the potion I was pretty safe to take him down. And we're gonna rename our ancestor, because I don't feel like Agathocles. We're gonna call him Salandrian. It's my other account and my other ID. So if you run into a Salandrian, it's probably me. But for now, he's our ancestor. Okay, so we got this. D2 done. We got Sigmund down, which is really nice. And off to D3 we go. We didn't find any suitable armor yet, which is really sad. Ugh, there goes a null. I'm gonna see if my Hexer can take him down for me. I mainly sent my Hexer into this first because I was expecting that something like this could happen. There's a whole army swarming towards us, and we're gonna retreat on this. So gonna take the null upstairs and beat him down, and there goes our Hexer again. If your summon from Hep dies, you always get him back after a certain amount of time, so it's basically not really terrible if he dies. He'll just respawn at some point. Okay, there goes a Hobgoblin, and yeah, we're already at AC 7, even though we're wearing only a meager robe and a +1 hat. And we're at a natural AC bonus of +4. New scroll, it was a scroll of noise. And yeah, we're getting forward pretty quickly here. Although I'm really careful now because I don't own any advanced weaponry. I don't have any remove curse scrolls. The best thing in my pocket is this heal wounds, and we have 2 potions of might. But still, we're lacking armor and weaponry. Totally. So I really want to take this carefully. There go a few more orcs and the rest of the null. Ouch. That hurt. So basically playing a gargoyle is the most time pretty harmless until you get hit. Then you suddenly realize how little HP you have. So we found a ring and an amulet. Both pretty nice, but we still have no remove curse. So I'm gonna identify this potion for now, which is a potion of haste. So we have some really nice options here. It's a mace of protection. It's not the ideal choice for my taste, but it's definitely better than the +0 normal mace we were wielding before. And the protection branding gives you a temporal +7 AC bonus when you get into combat with the weapon. You're only getting it after you got in a swing at an enemy. So I stood beside her so Salandrian could hex the adder, because your ancestor can't hex if you're in the way. So we got a new scroll of ID, and I feel like I could ID the amulet here, but I'm a bit reluctant here, because I feel like I should save it for more potions. So we got enchant armor. I'm gonna enchant this hat a bit more, not the rope, because this rope we're gonna switch pretty soon. So there are some armors. Let's pick up the scale mail I've overlooked there. And with Control F you can bring up the search menu here, which is a real boon, because you can search for terms like armor, or you can search for a term like brand, then you get shown all the branded items you've found so far. It's really worth experimenting around with it. So there's a flail. I'll definitely swap here over to the flail and instantly get punished for my decision here. It's a -3 flail, which is really horrible. But it's not the end of the world. I can still somewhat fight with it, but it's gonna be hard. I think I'm gonna let Salandrian do most of the work here, because we're really set back here in terms of fighting. Okay, so d4 with a -3 flail. That's really terrible. Keep forgetting that non-runed or glowing items on the ground can be cursed so heavily. It's kind of mean, but that's how it is. So there goes an ogre, which destroyed as well Salandrian as well as me. So we have pretty much nothing to kill this ogre. So I'm just gonna run upstairs, heal up, wait until Salandrian is back on his feet, and try the other stairs. Probably we're not running into an ogre again. So there's a centaur skeleton, that's definitely less dangerous, and the plate armor. That's sweet, but I certainly don't want to wear plate armor before I am at 18 strength. So please help me, Salandrian. Thank you. Iguanas are particularly dangerous at this point of the game. They pack quite a punch. So there goes the temple. We're just entering it for short, just to have it here on this list that we've entered it, not more. We already have our god. We don't need any of those in there. So there goes a chainmail. That's definitely an upgrade. I don't know actually how much strength you need to overcome the encumbrance, but I think it's 15. So we're at strength 16, so we're definitely not getting abused by the heaviness of our armor. There goes a gecko. Just let Salandrian step ahead again. Wand of Polymorph can be useful at times. Soldier Ant. Again, gonna try to let my ancestor do most of the work. We're not doing anything with this cursed flail here. Hope I'll run into remove curse pretty soon, so I can wield back to my Mace of Protection here. It's gonna happen sooner or later. Now I just need to survive until then. So we got back into the vicinity of the ogre, which kind of frightens me a bit, but I think we can handle. So we got a new ID, and a new potion to ID, which is lignification. That's certainly some useful stuff. And our ancestor remembers more of his skill. That's not resulting into any new spells, but it's okay. So, a book of cantrips. We're gonna learn Animate Skeleton and Apportation here. Both are really useful spells in all situations, and they're level 1 spells, so there's not much skill needed to cast them properly. There goes the iguana. Easy kill. And there's the ogre from a few minutes ago. So again, I'll hope that my ancestor can do the most of the dirty work. And right we were. The ogre went down pretty smoothly here. So there goes a phantom. They feature particularly high evasion ratings, but our hexer putting down his hexes, making the combat really much more easier. And he's killing the adder as well for us. So right now I'm really happy that I catched Hep as a god, because I feel like it helps a lot against my failure here of wielding this weapon too early. So there's an Okavaru altar. We have a Wand of Paralysis, a Glowing Falchion. That's something I really want to try out. But no better mace. I think I'd like to go for a mace in the long run, and here's our first Orc Priest. Orc Priests are really dangerous for gargoyles, because their smite really rips through your low base HP, like a lot. There's a second Orc Priest, and we'll escape upstairs, recall our ancestor for a meager 2 mana points, and kill this ant safely while not being swarmed by Orc Priests and getting smitten. A smite of an Orc Priest can do up to 17 damage, and since we're a frail race, this can get pretty quickly pretty ugly, so we're ignoring the Orc behind us and straightforward rushing to the Orc Priests to bring it. Okay, there's a third one. Rushing straight forward to the Orc Priests to bring them down quickly. So we got another smite in. We're at 16 HP now, which was pretty scary for that second. And yeah, if we didn't split up the fight at this point, I think we would have been dead or one less potion of heal wounds. So we found a Scroll of Amnesia. Sadly, no Scroll of Remove Curse. There's a first Centaur, and we finished that pretty easily. So let's hope this is Remove Curse. Nope, it's Magic Mapping. The Adder Skeleton got hexed. Okay, so a few javelins. Let's pack him into the pocket. Another ogre. So we're gonna try if we can beat him down like the last one. We got 13 damage from the first smack, and yeah, that really hurt indeed. So the ogre killed our ancestor as well, and the water moccasin skeleton is blocking our way. I'm gonna pop a Scroll of Teleportation right now because this skeleton is quicker than me, and I definitely don't want to run with 6 HP against a water moccasin skeleton, which is quicker than me. So there's still 2 ogres here. Okay, so we're making the run towards the stairs again. Hope the skeleton is not in our way this time. And we picked up the adder, got it upstairs. Everything's fine. So let's check out the other stair and proceed exploring this floor. Hope we don't run into such ogre mess again. Gonna let Solanrian do the killing of this adder. And there's a Sif altar. Also really good god. But not for us, not for this game. It's a Scroll of Fog. Still no Remove Curse for us. That's a bit sad. So there's another flail. And the moccasin skeleton. Come on, Solandrian, do your work. He's not feeling like doing work. But we got down the skeleton even with the cursed flail. So there goes the ogre again. First hit hurt a lot. Second hit also. And I'm gonna bail and let Solandrian kill this ogre. And I put up the jackal between me and the ogre so my ancestor could fight him safely. And there's the next ogre. And he's slowed and confused and almost dead. So our ancestor did a good job in weakening him so we can kill him with our inferior weaponry. That's really good. So we have a new potion, which is a potion of curing. We don't need curing for getting rid of poison, but we can cleanse confusion with it, which is also very, very important. So down to d6 with a cursed -3 flail, no remove curse in our pockets. This run is starting out hard. So there goes Iguana. I step to this corner where Solandrian and me can fight both at once. And there goes Eustachio. I don't feel like fighting Eustachio, actually. He's having a wand of digging with him. It's certainly something I want to pick up later. Gonna kill this bullfrog and see if Salandrian is able to put down Eustachio, but doesn't look like it. There's a dig fest going around. Whoops, that was an unintentional pun here. He's digging like crazy. That's what I wanted to say. So, Salandrian is trying to kill this snake, which is a real critter, not a summoned critter. We're trying to take down the adder, but looks like there's not much happening here. I'm gonna go upstairs, leave the summons behind. Eustachio will follow, but I've decided to put up a potion of might and start whacking him, because with a potion of might, even with a... Oh, thank you, Eustachio. Gonna take one more swing. Okay. So that's a bit too few HP. Think this would have worked even without the heal wounds, but it was too spooky for my taste. With a potion of might you can even bring down stuff with a -3 cursed weapon like this. It's really no problem. Could have tried to paralyze him though. Silly me. As you can see, I'm not the best player around, but I'm definitely somebody who likes to think a lot about his game. And there's always room for improvements in this game. It's not gonna stop. So there's a armor boutique, which has some poison resistance gear, which is absolutely not interesting for us, but we're gonna pick up those gloves. I really like to have some gloves. More AC is good for us, because gargoyles pretty much are, well, they're a walking bunch of armor class. So there's a first ice beast, which deals considerable amounts of extra cold damage, but it was pretty much confused most of the time here, so that was pretty easy. So there goes Menkore. Whoa, he can torment me from a distance. And there's still a sky beast behind them. So we're gonna make a run again here. Don't feel like fighting in these circumstances. But we're gonna take this sky beast upstairs. There's our ancestor again helping us, and there's another ant. Just like the last time we kited something upstairs. Okay, so we're gonna go downstairs again, and our ancestor is back up. So we kill Menkore. Okay, that was pretty much kinda spooky, kinda easy. Would have been a lot easier if I wasn't wielding this terrible weapon, but seems like RNG doesn't want to give us another scroll of remove curse. I think we didn't find one yet. Nope. So I gotta look out for unidentified scrolls, which is a bit sad because I'm wearing all this jewelry which I want to try out as well. But well, we're gonna find remove curse. Hopefully we will survive until then. Gonna let Salandrian do this bullfrog here. A centaur skeleton. As you can see, the ancestor is pretty much able to take down easier targets all by himself, even if he's only a spellcaster. So there's a bunch of orcs. Or this guy is wielding a wand of paralysis. That kinda spooks me. I'm gonna try if I can paralyze him too. Okay, we got him down. Because if he had paralyzed me again while Salandrian wasn't around, the situation could have easily gotten out of hand. But we found a morning star, and hopefully this is finally a scroll of remove curse, but we're not lucky. No remove curse yet, but the morning star will be my new weapon. I hope it's not cursed like the other weapon I tried out. So I can now use transference, and this is a very funny skill because you can change spots with your ancestor and an enemy, and this will drain the enemies, and we can idealize, which leads to a dramatic increase of strength, spellcasting, and armor, as well as healing. So we gotta learn some invocations along the way, sooner or later. But right now, Hep does a lot of work, even if we're not learning invocations, because the strength of your ancestor is not depending on your invocations level. Only the extra skills are depending on your invocations here. So it's a good thing about Hep. You don't need to invest much to get much reward from it, I'd say. Let's call it a reward. So there's an alarm trap, but I'm gonna trigger it because most of this floor is already explored, so I'm not too anxious here that something bad could happen when we're marked. And down to D7 we go. There's some orc priests. I'm gonna let Salandrian go forward and keep him busy, so he turns his smite hopefully not on us, but on our ancestor. And there's a Rendart short sword. That's pretty interesting too. So we got a scroll of ID, but we have no more potions to ID. We're still waiting for this remove curse scroll. Wish the Fish's Ghost. It's a Formicid fighter, and he's red. It's my last potion of might. It's actually... nah. Don't feel like it's worth wasting my potion of might here on this ghost. Although we won't get rid of this ghost otherwise, I think. Let's check if we can take him down without might. I really wanted at least to try it, and as you can see, it was really worth a try. We didn't waste any resources on him, and have the might potion still open for another spooky situation. So there's an ogre, but they get more harmless. First ogres are always the most dangerous here. So let's check. What do we have here? The Wrath of Trog. A +8 battle axe with anti-magic. Not too interesting, actually. So there's a Runed Hunting Sling, a Runed Demon Trident. That's kind of like the most interesting thing in this shop. But Demon Tridents are really good weapons. And it would also combine really good into my Ancestor playstyle to pick up a pole arm, because then I can stand behind my Ancestor and just reach over him while fighting. But this would have been better if I picked up a Knight. So there's a Wand of Acid. That's really good. I like Wands of Acid because they can corrode and pack out a lot of damage. Acid Wands are really useful against the first Hydras you meet, if you don't feel like being strong enough to take down Hydras on your own. Acid Wands really have proven to be a very good tool to take down Hydras. So our skill levels are increasing rapidly. I feel like dodging, we don't need to invest that much more, so probably gonna turn it off pretty soon and put it into invocations. But I'm gonna wait until I find some sweet heavy armor to have a good reasoning to put up the put down the dodging. So there's an Orc Warrior, Orc Wizard. Let's step again in a manner that our Ancestor can punch two. And there's a shiny plate armor. That's exactly what we wanted to have. It's a plate armor of positive energy, which brings us a second pip of resist negative. But I would have preferred some fire or cold resistance on the armor, but it's okay. It's way better than no branding on our armor. Definitely better. Wand of Flame, that's the tiniest damage wand man can get down here, or a woman. I think also women play crawl. So, easy packs. Still no remove curse scroll. Sometimes you really don't see these too often, and it looks like it's one of those runs. So off to D8 we go, with a -3 flail. Double Orc Priest. That's really spooky. And we're gonna flee. We got a lot of smitings in our face, but I'll try to stare dance a bit here. And we got down one of those priests. At least Salandrian did. And let's see what he's able to do with this fighter. Obviously winning, and obviously killing the priest as well. Our ancestor is doing a good job here, beating up all those orcs for us. And we found 2 scrolls of teleportation on these orcs. One of random effects. I'm gonna ditch this. I don't wanna have that. And let's put down the auto pickup on all those wands, because I always feel like one wand is enough. If I want to recharge it, I'm gonna recharge it, or look for another one of those with the search option. So there's an ogre, but they get more and more harmless here. And we've reached level 10. Our ancestor got stronger again. Let's see, did he learn anything new? No, he didn't. But his base damage went higher. It was 8, now it's 10. It's getting stronger and stronger. Okay, so there goes a Scorpion and a Crimson Imp. Let's see what our ancestor can do. Obviously a lot. That's a dead imp. Wand of Scattershot. These are used best if you're a evocation skilled user of those. Potion of Degeneration. Certainly don't want to have this. Nobody wants a Potion of Degeneration. There's a first Steam Dragon. Also no problem. All this jewelry is piling up. And that's a first 2-headed ogre. That's some real nuisance. So we're gonna try to paralyze him a bit, because I feel like that's the best thing I can do. Whacking him without any paralysis or confusion would be really dangerous in my opinion. So there are some invisible orcs, but our ancestor can see invisible, which is also a very, very useful trait. So if you're lacking the ability to see invisible, your ancestor can do. And there's a new scroll, and I'm really looking forward to this, because I felt like this could be finally the remove curse we were waiting for. So we can finally toss down this flail, replace it with a Morning Star, and now I feel a lot safer here. So there's a Book of Necromancy. We already have Animate Skeleton, and that's all I want to see from this spellbook. Another Potion of Wounds that helps me exploring with a bit more safety feeling as well. And we found the entrance to the lair, which is really early. The lair can spawn between D8 and D11, and I totally would advise to not go into lair if you find it on D8, because that's really early. You're probably better off exploring the dungeon until D11 or D12, or up until you run into something that's too spooky to take. And there's Gastronok. And I think Gastronok is the kind of guy we want to blow our Potion of Might into and straight up walk into his face and just smack him down like the snail he is. Because he features a great amount of HP. I think from all the uniques you can meet at this point of the game, nobody features more HP than Gastronok. And yeah, that's a good usage of the Potion of Might. Sadly, his hat was nothing too special. Gastronok always comes with a hat, which can be enchanted, which can be even a unique at times. I've already killed a Gastronok which had a Mask of the Dragon with him. There's It's all possible here. So, okay. Looks like we've got past the scary early game of the Gargoyle here, because the early game of the Gargoyle is always bit scary because of the Orc Priests. Their smiting can really mess you up hard. And we found our first enchant weapon scroll. I guess I'm gonna drop the falchion and the flail here, and as well as the mace of protection. I think I'm gonna keep this short sword until I get another remove curse scroll, just because I'm always curious about random items. Doesn't stop. So there's another orc party, and one of those is wielding a hand axe of distortion. That's something I really don't like to see. So we're retreating here, taking the orcs back to the upstairs. And yeah, that's what can happen with distortion. It distorted me beside a two-headed ogre. Speak about worst case scenarios. I had to blow up my teleportation scroll on this because I felt like I had no escape route and my ancestor was dead, so I had no option to hope for a good paralyze or anything from my ancestor. Oh, well, he can't paralyze yet. Only confusion, but that would have also helped a lot. So, okay. My ancestor seems to have slowed the orc warrior, and we're ripping through these. That's cool. Trident of Venom here, but we're not interested in a Trident of Venom. We're having a Morning Star, and a Morning Star is a stronger weapon than a Trident. So that's a huge Cobalt pack. We got down the Demonologist, and we got this fight at a position where Salandrian and me can punch through these guys. Okay. Well, our ancestor got destroyed. Bad positioning, my friend. He rushed into this room, which was certainly a bad idea, but it's okay. We're punching through these kobold pretty easy. That's mainly because we already have 26 AC here. 7 of those are from our race alone. And yeah, that's the joy of being a Gargoyle. You feature such terrible amounts of armor class that early. You only gotta be careful with some anti-Gargoyle scenarios, let's call it like that. Anti-Gargoyle scenarios are, in the early game, the Orcish Priests, and later on there are a few enemies we will meet, hopefully not, that can bring real doom onto you when you're a Gargoyle. So we found our first shield, which is really nice. It's only a buckler, but we're gonna put it up, because I really wanna have a shield. Don't feel like going for two-handed weapons here, but I think Gargoyles are pretty good at wielding two-handed weaponry because of the high base AC. Hungry Ghost, we're gonna be hungry here. We're already near starving, but Salandrian properly confused this guy and made the fight pretty easy for us. Alright, Book of Enchantments. That's a really useful spellbook, but we're probably never gonna be able to use those high-level spells here. And one of those kobolds has a wand of digging, and there's another wild digging party around me. I've avoided the bad pun here. There goes Irvalcha. Yeah, that's one of those uniques you don't want to meet. So I'm gonna use Salandrian to block my line of sight with Irvalcha. And now she's able to cast spells at us. And we're bailing here, because I have not the means of killing her yet. So we're gonna enter the lair. I think that's the safer way to go here, because we're naturally immune to poison, we have enough armor class to safely try to take down a Hydra. And there's our first Black Mamba. Okay, but we got her. Black Mambas are kind of like the spookiest snakes you can meet in here. But with the natural poison immunity, they're not too dangerous here. If you have no poison resistance, you need to have at least a potion of curing, just in case. Most combats with Mambas could go good, but well, they have the option to lethally poison you. I'm gonna show you guys later, or we can do it. No, I can show it over here. Let's ask Beam about a Black Mamba. Oh. Was it that? Or that? There we go. So, Black Mambas feature 20 damage on their own. Poison damage 14 to 28. EV 15, that's also a pretty high evasion rating. And they're fast, as far as I remember. But this doesn't show up here, somehow. Anyways, they have, as you can see, very, very high damage. That's 20 damage on alone with the auto attack and the poison amount. If you weren't poison immune, that would have been much more of a problem. And for a comparison here, the water moccasin only features 10 damage per blow, which is only the half of the Black Mamba. A first Yak pack. So Yak are really easy enemies if you have that armor class amount, because they have very, very low chances to penetrate your armor at all. So I think we're at a good spot to conquer through the lair here. But anyways, we're gonna punch down this basilisk, complete lair 1, and I think I'm gonna end the recording of this episode here when we're done with lair 1, and bring the rest of our happy adventure here on the next episode. There is a scroll of remove curse. Finally. Finally. So I'm gonna finish the floor first before we go into this scroll of remove curse. There's a shiny ring mail. I'm gonna keep it. Try it out later. Maybe it's one of those resists I wanted to have. Let's see. Another wand of digging. That's 3 wands of digging that early. Sometimes I don't find any of those. Okay, so there was a ruined flail. I wanna have it, please. Because it could be a good brand, and then it would be better than the Morning Star here. So we get 1 scroll of ID. Let's toss it on the potion. It's a potion of flight, which will get useless at some point. So we have a ring. We have 2 rings of fire. I'm gonna drop 1 of those. Don't want to have 2 of those. It's a cursed ring of loudness, a ring of see invisible, and a ring of protection from fire. So maybe gonna drop the 2nd ring of fire too. I prefer protection from fire rings over fire rings because they don't make you vulnerable to cold. Although a fire ring is really good if you're a fire elementalist or something who casts fire spells. So we have 1 cursed ring on our finger. Might as well try the other stuff we have in our inventory. There goes the cursed hunting sling and the cursed chainmail. So we're getting a lot of value here out of this. Let's try out the amulet. It's an amulet of magic regeneration, which is not too useful for us, so we're gonna take it off and remove curse here. So I shouldn't have tried the hunting sling first, but well, mistakes happen. We're gonna stick to the Morning Star and don't try anything else. Don't wanna have any of those situations again. We're only gonna try this weapon when we have another remove curse scroll. So we're gonna end here for this first episode. Thanks for watching, and hope you come back for the next episode of the Gargoyle Monk. See you soon, guys.